Hi, I'm sure you recognize most of the leaders on the screen, if not all. Now, can I have a raise of hands if you have at least 2 favorite leaders on the screen? At least 1 favorite leader? Wonderful. Now, that only tells us that most of us admire successful leaders. Now, do you know the net worth of all these individuals put together? It's more than $100 billion. Now, isn't that amazing? Now, if I were to ask you one question, what is that one common thing these leaders have? What would be your answer? They are successful, they are visionaries, they are consistent.
Ability to take risks.
Wonderful. Okay, that was a tricky question. It's not one thing that is common. There are several things that are common among these leaders, like the ones that you mentioned. Additionally, the focus, the business acumen, and the kind of hard work that they put in. Let's learn 4 techniques that leaders use. The first technique, zoom in and zoom out. Imagine you're holding that frame in your hand and you're viewing it through the frame. What you're seeing is the seashore through the frame. What you're also seeing, another view, is seashore out of the frame, right? So what are you actually doing? You're zooming in and zooming out. Now, this is the first skill that we need to acquire and strengthen. Now, let's say this is something simple that you can relate to, the Google Maps, right? We zoom in to get to the exact specific location, and we zoom out to get the lay of the land. Now that's very simple, and I'm sure each one of you in this room understand this. However, in real life, you know, life is not an app, right? So how do we apply this? Firstly, the trick is in us becoming conscious and fully engaged in the self-analysis of checking how is our perspective, how deep our perspective, and do we need to address the situation, do we need to zoom in or zoom out? Now, it's not that easy, right? Maybe it'll be easy if I explain it to you with an example. I'll draw an example from one of my, during my career path, one of the experiences I had a few years back. I was about 10 plus years of experience. I was doing the role of a manager, team leader. I've been a people manager for some years, and I was thoroughly enjoying my work. And my main motivation was to go to office because the team is waiting for you. And the team is waiting for your instructions, waiting for your guidance, and then we have that camaraderie and we have something to deliver. So that was the high of my life. When I was presented with an opportunity to take up a business HR role, which is an individual contributor role, versus a people manager role that I was playing. Now, I had a huge reservation because the main high for me was the kick that I had of working with the team, leading a team, being a part of a team goal. So I was sat down by one of our HR leaders, very senior leader, over a coffee, and he gave me a perspective. He said, I understand how excited you are and what your motivations are. However, let me give you this scenario. He says, you are excited about this 12 people team that you have and, enjoying and delivering results. But look at it. I'm going to give you 300 people. They're all yours. They're all your team members. You decide how you groom them, how you do the talent management, who comes in and who goes out, and what's going to be their life cycle in the company. Now, that was something big, right? So, although it was not very comforting, I embraced that. And believe me, when I look back today, I'm really very happy that I got that input. And I embraced that as well. I think it gave you a picture of zoom in and zoom out. The next technique is portrait versus landscape. Let's look at, I'm sure all of us are familiar with this. It's very simple. We have it on our phones, right? Now, when I show this phone and say, use portrait and also landscape, Well, I'm not talking about taking pictures in every situation that we have. Most of us have the tendency to do that. But I'm talking about a mindset. I'm talking about a mindset and the approach we take when we have situations. Now, when you have a portrait view, what are we doing? We are focusing so much on ourselves, right? Ourselves in the larger scheme of things, and we're so focused in getting our picture, our details into that. And in a landscape, it's a broader group, but at the same time, we have us also in there. We don't lose focus on ourselves. We have a full view of that, plus we have. So the technique here, my friends, is toggling between portrait and landscape. We need to have the ability to toggle between these and decide when we need to apply what. This gives us a broader perspective of the situation. At the same time, does not let us lose focus on our goal or our task or our objective. Now, again, I can give you a personal example on this. I'll draw this from my personal life. A few years back, we were looking out for a plot to build our house. And we've done a lot of research on which part, I come from Bangalore, which part of Bangalore is a good place to settle, etc. And then we decided on a certain place. And I went to see the place, and it was actually a mango grove. And it was all green, all right. But my eye fell on an anthill that was there amidst all of these. And for a few minutes, I was kind of taken aback. It kind of gave me a very eerie feeling. Oh boy, there's an anthill. There could be snakes here. It could be wild. And it really made me very uncomfortable. So, bringing your focus back to portrait versus a landscape, what was happening in this situation? I was just looking at the 1 square foot view and having a very portrait view and going through that experience. When I took a couple of steps back, and when they explained to me what's going to be the roadmap of this layout, this is how the roads are going to be, this is where the gate is going to be, there are the amenities, this is going to be the drainage, this is going to be the water system, etc. I developed a bigger picture of it, and that helped me warm up to that. And today I'm very happy to say it's the same plot that I have my house in. I'm very happy that I made the choice. Before I go to the third point, which is view versus viewpoint, I want you to quickly look at my left-hand side of this hall. What do you see?
I see lights.
You see lights? What do you see? Person in red?
I see the door.
You see the door? Somebody here, ma'am? You see the podium. What about you, sir? What do you see?
Mic.
You see the mic. Great. So, you got different responses here, right, within this room. What did I ask? I asked what you see on my left-hand side. So, all of you had the same view, right? At the same time, we had different points of view that each of you had. That's because I didn't give you specific instruction. I just said, look to my left, right? So, you chose what you chose because of the way you wired, because of your subconscious, or the way you chose to look at it. Now, that's what happens in real life, right? We all may be in a common situation, but often in our teams or in our family, personal or professional experiences, we find that although we are in the same situation, people have different points of view, and most often they are valid and unique. So, more we embrace that and more we accept that, the better it is for us to work with people. Our ability to work with people improves, and we get more alignment in what we are doing. Else, there's going to be misunderstanding, there could be stress, there could be conflicts, which there's no dearth of, right, today. So, this is a technique that we can use, and hopefully by the exercise you were able to see the difference. Now, before I go to the fourth technique, enough of the serious talk. Maybe I'd like to have some fun. I like colors, and maybe imagine that I'm going to give away some colorful glasses today. Okay, there are 4 sets of colors, and I want a raise of hands for your choice of color glasses. Okay, I'm giving you free glasses, and you're going to get some colored glasses. Let's assume that for a moment. And how many of you for red glasses? Great, I thought I'll be the only one. Okay, how many for blue? That's wonderful. Okay, silver? Black. Great. Please wear your imaginary glasses for now. 3 things will happen when you wear these glasses. Number 1, it's going to be colored by the color of glass you're wearing. Number 1. Number 2 is if your lens has a flaw, your view will be distorted. Right? So, and what else from a lens perspective? So this is really what happens. Now the third one is when you get really judgmental. After you wear the glasses, you start seeing this person, she looks great in these glasses. That frame suits her. Or it will be, oh gosh, that's too gaudy. I don't like it. Or it'll say, oh my God, that guy's looking weird in these glasses. Right? Now this is what happens in our real life. And we do this often with or without glasses. So becoming aware of what glasses we are wearing makes a lot of difference, right? Most often we wear glasses and take them off without even realizing that. We go through this through and through. So what happens is we are operating sometimes out of unconscious bias. This limits our thinking. Now that comes in the way of big picture thinking, right? It won't help us move forward and see something big. Now that I've shared the 4 templates or 4 frameworks or 4 techniques, let me walk you through an example. Maybe that'll give you a clear picture of how we can really apply this. So this again I'll draw from some of my personal coaching examples. I had somebody from my personal life who looks to me for inputs or provides me an opportunity to coach them call me 2 weeks ago telling me that he wants to talk to me about something he was facing in his career. Now let's call him Todd for now. Let's look at Todd's picture. He's kind of gloomy and he's frustrated. So when he called me, he said, I'm really frustrated. I said, hey, Todd, I thought you said you joined a new organization just two weeks back, and I was looking to hear from you. He said, yes, I did. But I'm really very unhappy. It's not happening. I said, what happened really? He said, it's my manager. My manager is lazy. It's like, wow, that's something different that I've heard. Manager is lazy. Now, how does it frustrate you? Now, the thing is, he had his own stories about how he was there for almost 1.5 weeks. He didn't get an assignment. He didn't get any tasks assigned. He didn't get any clients. And the manager postponed the meeting 3 times. And then he was not even a billable resource. And then he also thought, maybe she doesn't want me in the team. Now, he was going through a turmoil of all of this in his head. And let's see how we can help him with these perspectives, right? So what happened is I used the first framework on him, that is the Zoom in and zoom out. Let's play this out. So when I asked Todd that, hey Todd, you joined this company with a long-term vision. You want to make a career here and you had big plans of being associated with this company. Now, can we come back to that vision, please? Can you come back and look at where you're going? What did you have as a long-term for this and this brand and all of those meaningful thoughts that went into making the decision? So what was I doing there? Taking him back to the big picture. Then he kind of slowed down, saying, how does this 1.5 week old problem really become such a big problem? Is that any relevant? After a year, will you be looking back at this? And asked him a few questions. So what was happening there was making him zoom out. He was really zoomed in to that experience and experiencing frustration. So when I helped him zoom out, he kind of calmed down and began to think of better things and was more coachable and ready for the conversation. Then goes to the next point. What was our next point? Our next point was portrait versus landscape. Now, in this same situation, I asked him that he was being so focused in a portrait format that he kept looking only at him. I didn't get an assignment. I didn't get work. My manager didn't give me time. All of those. Now, in a landscape, you're there, but you also have your team and the rest of the activities that are happening in the org. So I invited him to look at what's going on there. Are your team members busy? Are there enough projects? Are there clients? What are the clients saying? Is there a milestone? What are they experiencing? In that whole scheme of things, where are you? Are there trainers available? Right? There is a picture. You're also there in the team, but you're also seeing what else is going on. And maybe there's an opportunity where he could think that I'm free. I can go and help some of the team members learn something online or help my manager. They could be very perspective. So he calmed down and started thinking about that. Now, the third thing is view and point of view, right? View and point of view. Again, what he probably was missing is the perspective from a manager's view, right? He could have thought about what was that she was seeing. She was seeing a larger picture, maybe, right? She was more interested in a landscape kind of a view where she really had the full picture of the team, what is their strategy, how well they can service the clients, the resource management of it, and all of those. So there comes a view there. So maybe he missed that aspect, that she wants best quality for the client. So she cannot put a person who's not fully trained there, maybe. But she has a larger goal. So that made him realize that. Now the last part is the lenses, where Todd said that my manager is lazy. Now, he was operating from his lens, right? He could have looked at what was that, why was he looking at her that way? And what were some of the facts and what were imaginary? Did she say that she didn't want him in the team? No. Were there conversations around reducing headcount? No. None of those. But, differentiating that and understanding that how he was really being judgmental. So we've applied all these 4 in the situation. Hopefully, you got a better idea of what 4 skills we're talking about. So you can see that Todd was much relaxed and after the thought process. Now, with all these 4, I do hope that you walk away with something that you can implement in your lives, right? I'm sure if all of us embrace these 4 techniques in our professional as well as our personal lives, the impact we are going to have as individuals would be much more significant than before. Thank you.